Hi besties, it's me Amelia. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing my April wrap up. This is my first wrap up in a long time. I feel like I don't want to make wrap ups when I only read like 3 books in a month. But in April I've actually been reading a lot, and the reason for that is, I think I can either write my book, like focus on writing my book, or reading. I cannot read and write. I have to be like 100% into my book. But in April, my computer had kind of a storage problem. Every time I tried to write my book, it's like, your changes could not be saved. So I did not write my book at all in April, which has really allowed me to read. If you have no space in your computer, I would suggest freeing up some space because my laptop ended up breaking down and I lost all my information. It's fine. But because I haven't been able to write, I've been reading a lot, and by a lot, I mean 7 books, which 7 books in a month for me is a lot. So that's why I'm able to do a wrap-up finally. I miss doing wrap-ups. I'm so excited. So the first 2 books I read in April was Corrupt and Hideaway, book 1 and book 2 in the Devil's Night series. This was like my 8th reread of Corrupt, and this is my 3rd reread of Hideaway. So in my last wrap-up, I said that I reread Kill Switch and Nightfall, and the reason I reread it is because, if you don't know, the chapters in these books alternate between like past and present, so it's like past, present, and so I wanted to do something different, and I read the entire past first and then the entire present first instead of reading the way it's written. And I said that it was such a different experience and I wanted to try this with Corrupt and Hideaway, so I ended up trying it with Corrupt and Hideaway, so reading the entire past first and then the entire present instead of the way it's written. And this was just such a fun experience. Each book in the Devil's Night series is a romance with 4 different couples, but all the guys are like in the same friend group, and they're kind of romantic suspense books, and it's my favorite series. So if you haven't read it, you should totally read it. In my head, Hideaway was always like not the best Devil's Night book, but rereading Hideaway made me think like, oh my god, this book is so good. I did not remember Hideaway being this good, and I think it really like went to the top of like my Devil's Night ranking. Like if I were to re-rank it, Hideaway would not be at the bottom anymore. I think it would be Corrupt. I think that Kai Banks is so beautiful. I just love them, and I love them so much. I'm actually working on a video completely dedicated to Penelope Douglas, and I'm so excited for that to come out. I think April was really like a Kai Banks. They're the couple. It was such a Kai Banks month. I was listening to like Kai Banks songs. Every time I reread the Devil's Night series, it's like such a good time. So I'm just so happy whenever I get to reread these books. The next book that I read is False Boys, which is also by Penelope Douglas. It's her latest book release. I've been waiting for False Boys, I don't know how long, like 5 years. I'm pretty sure I was in high school or something, and I was like, I want the books of the children in Bully, and we got it. Yeah, I just had to show you that. So False Boys is a romance, and it's very Riverdale, or like The Outsiders, in terms of the society. There's like the South Side and the North Side, or whatever they're called, the something and the something. The town is like divided into like the poor side and the rich side, and our main character, Arrow, she's from the poor side, and Hawk is from the rich side, and they're kind of like rival sides. And one day, Hawk and Arrow kind of find themselves at the scene of a crime together, and the police are after them, so they're forced to hide out together in this place that I love the location. I'm not gonna like talk about it, but it reminded me so much of the Devil's Night series. It was so like mysterious and like full of vibes. I was like, am I reading the Devil's Night series right now? So while they're hiding out from the police, I guess their romance kind of develops. But I feel like, okay, I like the romance. I feel like it's very different from Penelope Douglas's usual romances because the guy is kind of inexperienced, which is a contrast to like a lot of her other books. So that was something fresh that I really liked, and it kind of gave like a new dynamic in the romance that I'm not really used to. But I feel like plot-wise, and I know that people are like, why would you read romance for the plot? But also I feel like if the plot is bad, then like it kind of ruins the book. And I feel like with this, so like the plot is them hiding from the police, because of the crime, and they have to like, well, I'm not gonna get too into it. I just feel like the plot really took a back seat. If the plot is almost non-existent, then it just doesn't feel like a book. It becomes more like fan fiction or something. What I didn't like was that, you know, the whole point is for them to like hide from the police because they're like, they have a warrant out for their arrest. But then it's like, they're always going to like parties or like town events. They're like, we have to hide. That's like the plot. We have to hide from the police. We're wanted. But then they go to like high school parties and people are like, oh my god, it's them. And they don't even bother. Like, they keep going out and I'm like, what was the reason? And sometimes like even the police would see them and I'm just like what was the point? Like, why do y'all keep going to parties? Even like the guy, he like hosted a party at his house or something. It didn't make sense. The plot was kind of non-existent. It was only there in the beginning and then by the end they like solved it really easily and I'm just like, what was the reason? I don't know. I like the romance and I like the vibes of the book, which is very much like suspense, mystery, a lot of urban legends. That was really interesting. But for me, the plot wasn't there, and when the plot feels useless, then it doesn't feel like a book. But I'm really looking forward to the next book because we kind of got a sneak peek into who it would be about, like which couple, and kind of the plot and the dynamic, and I am so excited. So the next book that I read is The Love Hypothesis, and listen, I don't usually read popular, hyped, contemporary romances because I feel like every time I do, it's such a disappointment. Like, the only one I liked was The Hating Game, which I know a lot of people didn't like, but I did. And that was the only one I liked. I did not like The Unhoneymooners. I did not like The Kiss Quotient, which I didn't finish. I don't like any of these hyped contemporary romances with like people as like graphics on the cover and the covers all look the same. Like, I don't like these books. I'm just not into this romance genre. I just read like dark romances, new adult, like that's all I'd be reading, and fantasy. But there's this girl I follow. She's kind of an influencer. You know, I don't really follow influencers. I'm not really influenced by them, but there are two influencers that I am so inspired by and I want to be like them. And one of them, not gonna mention who she is in case one day we become friends, and she's like, oh my god, you were a fan of me. And you know, this actually happens really often, where we're kind of deviating from my wrap up, but this happens so often when like I'm a fan of an influencer or like I keep up with someone for many years and we end up being friends. It happens way more than you think. I don't know why. It just keeps happening to me. And when I meet them, I'm like, hi, what's your name? I've seen your movies and I know your music, but like, what's your name? And like, it just happens so often. But she posted on her story, she's like, oh my god, my boyfriend got me The Love Hypothesis. And at first I was like, ew, like another hyped contemporary romance that like I don't care about. I don't care to read this. But then I was like, I could feel the influence because I love her as an influencer. And I was like, okay, I'm just gonna read one page of The Love Hypothesis. If I don't like it, I'm gonna stop. And then I read one page and I could not stop. It was so good. The Love Hypothesis is about this PhD student. One day she sort of accidentally, not really accidentally, but kind of kisses her really attractive professor, and things lead to other things and they end up having to fake date. It was such a fun ride. I love this book so much, especially for its like scientific references, you know, since the girl is like studying science or like biology, whatever she's studying. There's so many like scientific references. I just kept being like, oh my god, I actually understand this reference. Yeah, this makes me want to like try out more contemporary romances that I thought I would hate. I think this is my favorite book I read this month that was not a reread. The next book I read is The Fine Print by Lauren Asher, which is a romance. I kept seeing it on like bookstagram, book talk, book Twitter. I saw it everywhere and I never cared to read it, but then I walked into the bookstore and it was like right at the front. And I was like, you know what, I keep seeing you, let me just give you a chance. So in this book we follow Zara and Rowan. Rowan is kind of, his family owns this like adventure park or something, and Zara works at the adventure park. And one day she's drunk and she submits this proposal that kind of criticizes one of the rides. So Rowan ends up promoting her to like work on creating or designing rides or whatever it was. I don't even know. You know what? I don't even know. I did not like this book. I don't care to remember it. I think my main problem with this book is the fact that people keep laughing and like nothing is funny. Like you could literally be like, I had breakfast yesterday, and it would be like, Rowan laughed so loud, and I'm just like, that was not funny. And like every time she said something not funny, he would laugh, and every time he said something that wasn't funny, she would laugh. This book is full of laughs, and I'm just like, nothing you said was funny. Like what was the reason? And it just really annoyed me. I'm like, I can't read this book anymore where people are like laughing all the time. Like, it's not funny. I also found the romance boring. I think the only thing I like is that the main girl, Zara, is POC. I don't know what POC though, but I could feel the POC-ness in her. So I like that, because you don't really see that in like new adult romances. So that was the only thing I liked about this book. Yeah, I didn't like the guy because, oh my god, he's so stupid. He is so, you know what, I cannot stand Rowan. Why? Because he's so stupid. He is so stupid. You know what he does? He like cuts people's wages and like lowers their insurance plans or something. And then he asks his secretary like, why do you work a second job? Do we not pay you enough? And I'm like, are you like, you're asking her why she's working a second job? Like, don't you like cut people's wages and like lower their wages and like lower their insurance just so you can become richer, just so like your billionaire company can make more profit? And you're like, do we not pay you enough? Why do you work 2 jobs? Like, are you stupid? Like, are you stupid? Like, how am I supposed to like you? He's like those real life billionaires that like, he's like Jeff Bezos. It's giving Jeff Bezos, you know what I mean? Like, not paying Amazon workers enough while you're like a billionaire. Like, that's Rowan in a nutshell. And I was just like, it's like if Jeff Bezos asked like a minimum wage worker in his factory, like, do we not pay you enough? While he's like literally a billionaire. I got so annoyed by Rowan. I'm like, can you like shut up? Yeah, I did not like this book. I'm gonna stop here because I don't like him. Everyone kept laughing. Nothing was funny about this book. I'm never reading a Lauren Asher book again because the sense of humor was just so off. Like, it's just not for me. I stopped reading at like 70% because I just don't care. Next, I read Trisix Venom. Actually, to be completely honest, I read Trisix Venom last month, but I read like 35% and I wanted to finish the book, so I tried to finish it in April, but I only made it to like 36 or 37%. Trisix Venom is a sapphic new adult romance by Penelope Douglas. I don't have the book, but I have this random promo card. So this is the cover. This is the vibes. Trisix Venom, lol, me holding this instead of holding the book because I don't want to own the book. You know, I was really excited to hear that Penelope Douglas was writing like a female love story. I was so excited, but Trisix Venom was not for me. Okay, similar to like Falls Boys, which I talked about earlier, the town is divided between like the rich and the poor, whatever they're called, South Side, North Side. Yeah, I think it was like South Side and North Side. It was so Riverdale. And like, I think my problem with the book is it was so like, I don't know if this is the right word. I actually don't really know what this word means, but like catty. The two main girls just kept like fighting and like being so catty and like pulling each other's hair and like hitting each other and like screaming at each other. And I was just like, can you guys like shut up? Like, it was, I don't know why, but like it really annoyed me. Like scratching each other and pulling each other's hair. Like, that just really annoyed me. And I was like, I can't take this book anymore. I also didn't feel any romance between them, and I feel like both characters were not likable. I hate both of them. Okay, I don't hate both of them. I don't like both of them. I don't think they're memorable characters. They kind of just reminded me of other Penelope Douglas characters, but like a female version of the men. I'm not trying to be like misogynistic, but I just feel like it didn't work. A lot of gay people said this as well, but it feels like a gay romance for straight people. I agree with this, but I'm gonna quote like gay people because like it's kind of their life and their experience, but they said that it was a straight dynamic with gay people, and they were like, women actually, or like gay couples would not be acting this way. And I guess I kind of agree with that. It felt like so straight. I can't describe it, but like if you look at the Goodreads reviews, like women who like women were not happy with this book and the way that it represented lesbian relationships. Some people have told me to like keep going and that I'll like it, and I do think that I will try to finish it one day just because I love Penelope Douglas and I want to have read all her books. But for now, like I just had to take a back seat because I just found it really annoying. I didn't like any of the characters. They were not memorable. I did not care about them, and I just found it like really annoying. I'm so sorry, Penelope. I literally love you. I'm in love with you. I have like all your books and they're all signed and I spent a lot of money on them, but like I just could not. This book was not for me. So last but absolutely not least, I read The Pawn and the Puppet by... You know what? I'm actually really excited to talk about this book. The Pawn and the Puppet is a dark, new adult, kind of almost dystopian. I don't know if it's just actually... Yeah, I feel like it's dystopian. I mean, the country is called Dementia, which almost made me stop reading it, but I kept going. The Pawn and the Puppet is about this girl in a country called Dementia. You know what? I love the society in this book. Okay, that might be a little problematic to say because women were starving themselves and encouraged not to eat. But it just felt so Tim Burton. In this society, women are encouraged not to eat. So if someone offers you food, you should be saying no, and you're encouraged to say no, and they'll like, if you say no, they'll be like, yes, absolutely, you're correct. And you just shouldn't eat. You can't eat like after a specific time. And there are literally couches by the road for women to faint because they're encouraged not to eat. And this really contributed to the creepy atmosphere of the society, and it made it so Tim Burton. The plot of the book is that the main character, oh my god, what's her name? That's her name. She starts working at this mental asylum, and she basically has to try to cure the patients. But there's this one patient called Patient 13 that, you know, he's hidden away from everyone, and she's not allowed to see him, and no one talks about him. But she's so good with patients that finally she's allowed to try to cure Patient 13. And Patient 13 is like this attractive man, and he's scary. Well, I don't think he's scary, but everyone is scared of him. And he also has dissociative identity disorder, or like a split personality where there's two people living inside him. So what she has to try to do is take away the current alter or the current personality and bring back the original one who's like hiding in his head. So she has to work with him to kind of bring back the original person and not this scary personality that protects the original personality. I liked the romance, and I love the creepy atmosphere of this book. It was such a vibe. Everyone was like mean and like so bad and creepy. And I was like, yes, absolutely. I love this aesthetic. I love this atmosphere. I did give it 3 stars because even though I really enjoyed the book, I feel like the writing could have been improved. You know, this is by a self-published author. It's also her debut book. Not to say that that would mean a book is worse, but I also feel like when a book is self-published, it goes through less stages of editing. You know, there aren't as many people looking at the book. And I think that contributed to some flaws in the editing and the pacing. Also, I feel like Patient 13, or the love interest, was painted as this like scary guy that no one was allowed to go to because he would just like kill everyone. but I didn't find him scary. But overall, I actually really enjoyed this book. I am gonna read the second book. I'm actually really excited for the second book. So that is all for the books I read in April. Currently, I'm trying to finish House of Sky and Breath. It's taking a really long time, and I'm also currently reading Guild, which is the first book in the Plated Prisoner series. I am enjoying both of them, but I feel like my reading has been so on and off that it's gonna be a while until I finish a book. Also, I'm starting an internship next week. Am I gonna have time to read? I don't know. Are we gonna be doing a May wrap-up? Probably not. But I have a video coming out soon that I'm so excited for, and if you love Penelope Douglas, I think you will also enjoy this video. Anyways, thank you so much for watching my video. Let me know if you have any thoughts on any of these books, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Goodbye.